The Regular Show. Is that where I'm Skips?
Yes!
That's Skips, right?
Yes!
Yeah, that one.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us up here. And how's the show been?
Oh, it's been wonderful. I mean, I won't speak for Sam, but everybody's been really lovely, really kind. I love my Texas fans. You guys are great.
Awesome. Yeah, there you go. They're the best.
Yeah, Regular Show fans are always really sweet, so it's nice to be able to talk to people.
Absolutely. And so my booth is actually right next to y'all's, and so all weekend, all I hear every so often is fire. So it's been very fun. I love the way you interact with the fans, and it's always refreshing to see that you're still getting some love right after so many years. Speaking of, did you ever think first of all that the show was going to run for as long as it did, and have sort of the longevity, right, and popularity that it still has?
No, not. I mean, I started doing voices for JG, who's the creator, back in school. So I thought we would go and play pool in college at this billiards place in Santa Clarita, California, and he was really good. But he would be talking already about one day I'm going to have a show. You're going to be doing voices on it, and I was like,
nice.
Oh, cool, okay. But I never knew it would go on this long or be this popular.
Yeah, same. I started. My first show was an Adult Swim show called Moral Oral, and we got 3 seasons out of that before it was canceled for being too dark, or at least that's what we were told. And I was like, "Have you seen Adult Swim?" And then, so I remember saying to my wife after I got the job doing Rigby, I said, if I get 3 seasons, I'll be I'll be thrilled. Many years later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 2010 to 2016, that's a crazy run for a cartoon.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Unless your name is The Simpsons.
Yeah, very true. There are exceptions, but still, I mean, what is it, 240 something episodes? Basically 8 seasons, right? I mean, that is nothing to scoff at, I would say. I mean,
I have no complaints.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. When did you realize, you know what, this is gonna keep going? This is popular.
I don't know, once maybe we started doing the Comic-Con conventions and things, and you saw the fan turnout and how excited people were. It was like, whoa, this is getting pretty great.
Yeah, the same. Cartoon Network would ask us to go to the Comic-Cons both in San Diego and New York and promote the show. And it was when I saw the lines. When I saw the lines, I was like, what? Who are they lined up for? Is Bruce Campbell here? And he was. But anyway,
besides the point.
Yeah. Besides that, but yeah, it was definitely seeing in sheer volume the people that would line up to meet us. It was amazing.
That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, again, a tribute to your work, to the writers, of course, everybody involved. I mean, shows don't last that long anymore, right? It kind of feels like, and let alone characters being so relatable. But speaking of characters, right? Sam, you had a few characters, right? To say the least. So I kind of want to know how was that process for you, Nina? Jumping around. First of all, coming up with the voices, obviously, then jumping around in recording, right? And was there ever a time that you're like, oh man, I got this whole scene almost to myself?
Yeah. Sometimes when they give you the script, they'll highlight the lines, and I'd be like, man. And you look at a few pages, and you're like, it's highlighted in different colors. So this is all me right here. Right? Okay. And we have to go back and forth. But we would do one pass where I would just do everybody back and forth, and then if there were things they wanted different, usually we'd just pick up one line at a time But I got the hang of after a while switching back and forth. And I was talking to someone about this, and it's probably easier that the characters are so different, so I could talk, more like Benson down here, and then switch up to Pops really quickly. It's just because it's so different. It maybe makes it a little easier. Did you do that?
Still, I don't know. My brain would just go cross-eyed, with so many characters. Like again,
I want to brag on Sam a little bit because it's not uncommon in what we do if you're voicing multiple characters, particularly if they're in the same scene together, where the director will say, well, in this patch you'll just do this character, and then you go back and then you do the other character. But Sam always did them right in order.
Wow. So like actual dialogue, right?
Yeah, back and forth. Maybe there's something about it that kind of frees you up. You can't think, so you just have to switch, and there's maybe something nice about that.
right. So kind of a tough question. Again, just because of how many episodes first of all, and how many characters you've done. But do you have one or two favorite quotes that you actually still like remember or enjoy?
Always guard your pepperonis.
Epic. How about yourself?
Rigby said so many silly things.
That did.
And what's that? I changed it back! Trash food! Stop talking! People always ask me what my favorite line was, and my favorite line was not particularly sexy because it was all the like over the top stuff that he did, but I really liked a really low key line that was from the format wars when we were trying to the various video formats like Beta and VHS and Laserdisc were all fighting for supremacy, and we allied ourselves with one of them. I can't remember who it was, but an older character is like, do you swear to give your lives and be willing to even unto death for the greatest format, Laserdisc or whatever it was? And Rigby said, I don't know about die per se. And I love that line because he's always hedging his bets.
Yeah, there you go. Very good point. So again, just you lived with these characters for so long, right, in the recording booth. How much of it was on the page, and how much of it was, coming from you guys directly?
Do you mean did we ever improvise, or do you mean in terms of like?
So in terms of improvising lines.
Oh, I see.
Right? And
it's not. None of it really was improvised, unless maybe a word here and there or something like that. But they pretty much wrote everything specifically what they wanted and all the jokes and things.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most impressive things about the writing on the show is we get that, or at least I do. I get that question all the time. Like, did you improvise a lot? Was there a lot? No, because I mean, it's a fairly tight format.
Right.
You've got animatics that you're working with, so timing is pretty specific. Unlike say Moral Oral, which was claymation, and we had a team of animators who were animating to us, we could literally improvise. But with Regular Show, you got to like pretty much stick with it, and I think it's a credit to the writing that people ask us that all the time.
Yeah, because they do the storyboards. Since it's a premise-based show, so they would write it they'd write an outline, sort of a summary of the story, and then the storyboard artist would come up with the lines. So a lot of times they're looking at the storyboard and then they're like, oh, Benson's actually a lot more angry here. So it's really planned out a bit more sometimes.
That is very impressive. Again, especially doing it for so long and all the great moments in the show, to know that they're all basically on the page every time. That is truly a testament to the writers, right? Definitely. And so, William, I gotta ask, are you as good at rock paper scissors as?
I think he's talking about quartz parchment shears.
Oh, of course, I love quartz parchment shears.
I mean, I'm pretty good at it, but I'm better at punchies.
Oh, there you go. That's awesome. So you've been to a lot of shows, right? You've met a lot of the fans. would you mind sharing with us, what do you think is your favorite item that somebody has presented, for an autograph?
Body part.
Any specific body part?
Yeah, I could talk about it here. The first time it happened to me, I think it might have been, and it wasn't that long ago, it might have been Pure Joy Toys in San Antonio. A young man had me sign his upper leg and said, I'm gonna go get this tattooed.
Nice.
And I only thought I knew pressure, when I'm signing somebody's Pop
like,
Funko
oh,
or
okay.
something. It was like, this is forever.
Yes.
Everybody that you ever really close to is gonna see this.
I like how you say really close to, right? I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's right. Never pass out when there's markers about.
Perfect. How about you?
I feel like it's the same for me. Yeah, the first time someone had me sign something as a tattoo, you're like, oh, okay, are you sure? How large do you want this? Is it too big? Wait.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
So there's a small club out there with
There's
with
like
your
a-
signatures
the-
as tattoos.
Yeah,
All
niche
right.
market of like
Interesting,
regular show
very interesting.
tattoos.
I always want to say it's going to look very different when you're my age.
Yeah. There you go. And so you've gone through shows like that, but when Cartoon Network made you go through some of the biggest shows right around. Did they sort of prep you for that? They're like, hey, by the way, guys, the show is doing really well. Expect, A, B, and C at the show. This is kind of. Did they tell you you're famous now?
I mean, I think not really.
People who are paying you will never tell you you're very successful.
That's actually a very good point.
Yeah. So
very good point.
when we would go to like the show in San Diego, what they would do, we weren't making money for that. We were promoting it for the show, so we were just getting a stipend.
Right.
But what they would do is they would take very good care of us. Like there was always like a team of people moving us through crowds and that kind of
Gotcha.
thing. And so, yeah, but no, they're not going to be like, you guys are amazing. You should, you know what? You should get a raise. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Right?
Yeah, I'm kind of like a low-key guy, so I think they would actually have a person like with me, like, Sam, do you want me to get you a cup of coffee? You ready for this? You ready for this? And they'll be like, oh, yeah, I think so.
The very first time that I think we were signing in San Diego, and I didn't really realize how popular the show was and how popular the characters were. I happened to be sitting such that I was the first person that they came to in line.
Okay.
And this young woman came through, they opened the line, and I had no experience at this whatsoever. And so I just looked up and said, hey, what can I do for you? And she looked at me and she kind of went,
Oh boy.
and all I could think was, she came to the con sick and she's gonna barf on me.
Oh no.
But what it turned out, she was nervous.
Exactly.
She was nervous, and so I've since then tried to develop some skills to tell people, hey, I'm just the guy with the lucky job. You don't need to be nervous around me.
Right. Yeah, and I've seen you do that a couple of times here at the show, by the way. So, I'm sure the fans appreciate that, right? So, there you go.
Back at you.
So yeah, it's it definitely takes some practice sometimes, but and us as fans, we can obviously get sometimes we let our nervousness get the best of us when meeting again our heroes or our people responsible, right, for the stuff that we love so much. Speaking about stuff that we love so much, do you guys have like a favorite piece of merch that you have or that somebody has gifted you?
I mean, it's not a big thing, but I really like my regular show mug that I've had forever. That's just my coffee mug.
Right, functional too. So.
I got an amazing gift at this show, and I'm sorry that I don't remember the vendor's name. They're all the way over at the end here. The these people sell custom rug designs, and there was an episode where Rigby literally ended up as roadkill, flattened on the street, and these guys brought me a rug of roadkill Rigby.
That is perfect.
And it's just so, it's unique, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, that one's going in carry on.
Yes, right. That's awesome. I think I've seen them. They have some very cool designs, and the colors on them, I noticed, are really good.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I know what you're. And by the way, guys, so they are located more towards here on that side. So stop by maybe after the panel and show them some love. So that's a very, very cool gift. Absolutely. Do you know more or less where it's gonna go?
Not on the floor. I'm thinking a wall in the living room, you know.
Makes sense. I'm sure the family will love, seeing that.
My wife might veto that. I don't know.
Risk must be taken sometimes.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Love it. There you go. Right on, Brad. And so, what? Oh man, it's so many questions, but. So many great moments, so many, obviously for you, so many sessions, right? So many recording sessions. Do you remember one that was particularly, maybe a little bit more difficult to get out? Maybe you're like, you know what, we're just having a little bit too much fun here.
For me, the hardest ones were just the ones with a lot of yelling from Benson, or it's a lot of Muscle Man, because after a while I would lose my voice, so we'd have to do all the yelling at the end and things like that. But a lot of people mentioned this scene where Benson levitates and screams a lot. That took a lot out of me. I think that one probably is the one that comes to mind.
Yeah, that'll do it.
For me, it was always just a straight face challenge. I almost had to leave the booth whenever Sam and Courtney were doing Starla and Muscle Man, because they would do the kisses on the mic, and see, how do you stay quiet when that's going on? And there's a woman across from him going.
And sometimes they'd have to be like, okay, that's a little too much. Maybe less of the slobber. I don't know. We can
Gonna change the rating on the show.
A happy medium they'd have to find.
Oh wow! I was like, hey, somebody get a wipe down on the mic.
There was a song that I had to learn that was supposed to be a bad song, and it was the one where Rigby is mad because Skips is going to the video game competition and he doesn't pick him to be his partner, and the song was something like, why do friends not pick their friends to go to a video game competition with them? And it was just so weird that it took, that had to come home with me, and I was going over and over again.
So you're just there in the shower
Yeah, exactly.
You got to do more of the songs than me. The only one I remember is Microwave Wings that I got to do, really.
What was it? I don't remember, what was it?
They gave me because they would write the music too. A lot of the board artists did a little bit of music and stuff, so they would, I think they gave me, Sean Sellis did a recording of it, so I could listen to it before we went in and did it, and it was microwave wings, this is Benson's recipe for microwave wings. They had to get it just right. They had it all planned out, yeah.
Oh, the hip hop. Yeah, that was kind of a shock. I did not have rapping in front of MC Light and Tyler the Entertainer on my bingo card. Yeah, that was no one prepped me for that at Pahuska High in Oklahoma.
Hey, I mean, that's how you know you're from the hood, right?
They were very, very patient with me.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, how long did that take? Do you remember?
Well, I had the benefit of being able to be crappy at it, so
right.
So we hammered ours out pretty quickly.
Right. Yeah, I bet. So what do you remember being the most fun? While obviously having great lines, seeing some awesome kisses, at the mic. But besides that, just like the day in, day out kind of stuff, what do you think is your fondest memory of working on the show?
I mean, a lot of the guests that they got to come in and we got to meet and work with, it just made it really fun too. Just the people that come in, everyone was really great. Yeah, we got to meet Ed Asner. He came in, introduced Santa Claus, and he brought like his grandkids. And they kept trying to come into the record, and he had this like curmudgeonly sort of, but like loving attitude. It was like, get out of here. And then,
Yeah, at the risk of sounding cheesy and sentimental, for me, it's really probably the fan interactions were my favorite, because my favorite thing is, like, it started happening at cons where somebody would go, hey, I just want you to know that I watch this show with my dad, or sometimes like a father and son would come up, or a daughter and son or whatever would come up and say, hey, or a mother and son would come up to you like, we watched the show together, and it really helped us bond, and it's such rewarding work to do for other reasons, that it's nice to know that we were actually meant something to families.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you meant a lot to some of the people here. What do you guys think? Yeah, exactly.
Love you guys.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, through the span of almost 7-8 years, right? I mean, I'm sure you got to see some of the kids, right, turn into young adults, and so has anybody been like, hey, you know what, I used to watch you as a kid, I'm here with my kid now,
For sure.
Maybe, yeah. It's always funny to me, actually, kind of the reverse. You get someone who's still young, and they come in and they're like, I've been watching Regular Show my whole life. And they're like, when you're like 12.
7 years?
Or 8 or something.
That's awesome. Again, just a great testament to your performance, of course, but like we said, to the writers, right? But speaking of, again, through so many years, right, and doing so many episodes, so many lines, was there ever, a time where you were like, you know what, man, I don't know that the writers are firing on all cylinders in this episode, Did you ever feel like, I kind of want to talk to them before I record these lines?
There might have been some where I was like, or maybe a lot of times they would give us the storyboards, and maybe sometimes where I didn't have the storyboard or something, and I just like read it. Or maybe even when I saw the storyboard, I was like, this is a different kind of one, but then you see it come together, and I was like, oh yeah, that really works pretty well.
Yeah, I'm going to co-sign that. It's like, Sam has a better perspective on it than I do, because I've never been an animator, but for real, like, there are times, and I learned that this is like kind of an important lesson for any performer, not just with Regular Show, but with other things. There are times that I read a script and I'm like, what? Sure, I'll take your money, but man, and then I see it later, I'm like, oh, I didn't have the vision. I did not have the vision because that's not what I do. I'm not the guy that moves the chess pieces. I'm just a chess piece, right. And so I like to think that I've gotten better over the years at reading something and seeing the potential. Right. But still, once in a while, you'll be like, I don't get it. And then you see it, and like Sam said, you're like, oh, it totally works.
Yeah, when they put the music in, and then you have all of the voice acting and everything comes together, makes a big difference.
Nice, and I'm sure it comes also with the working day in and day out with the team. You start trusting them, as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. I felt over the years that the writers moved sort of in my direction. I got to know the character better and moved towards what they had in mind, and the collaboration got really sweet and produced something, even better.
Right, very true. And I think again, everybody here can agree with me that it definitely got a lot better, right? So that is all the time we got for this awesome panel, guys. So give it up for our amazing guests from Regular Show. Don't forget, they're actually very close to the stage here, just on that side of the